hardest. So if you're Leon Edwards, is it better to just sit on ice and chill until Kamaru Usman is ready, or do you think of taking another fight against a top contender?
Dude, I'm gonna tell you one thing I'm not doing is fighting Hamza Chimaev. I'm definitely not fighting him because it's such a bad style matchup. And like you said, Ron, why should he have to fight again?
Exactly.
He hasn't lost in 10 fights. And honestly, if he would have waited, he probably could have fought Kamaru Usman anyways. He was next in line. He just took the Masvidal fight. But let's not go crazy here. And I put a video out the other day about Leon Edwards, and honestly, he's fought, Ryan. He fought Bilal Muhammad.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the fight was stopped because of an eye pull.
Yep.
He fought Nate Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
He was signed up to fight Jorge Masvidal all this year. So it's not like Leon isn't willing to fight. Right. Leon wants to fight. Leon wants to be in there fighting. And by being willing, by having that win streak, by being undefeated in 10 fights and still willing to take these fights, it gets you good favor with the organization.
Okay.
So now I think it's time for him to just sit and wait, Ryan. He's got his title shot. And honestly, Rocky's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. But with the way Kamaru Usman has fought lately, sometimes what you're asking for is not what you want. Now, Leon feels... Leon feels...
Watch what you ask for. You just might get it.
You just might get it, right? Like, you want a title fight, okay. Now you got to fight the Nigerian Nightmare. But Leon feels like because Usman has done so well with his hands, that gives him more of an opportunity.
Right.
Because he thinks that Usman's fallen in love with the hands, and by him falling in love with the hands, he makes himself more vulnerable to a guy that has fantastic striking like Leon Edwards.
Is Cormeir and Usman the greatest welterweight of all time? Obviously, the only competition he has is George St. Pierre. George St. Pierre had 16 wins in a row. He lost also to Matt Serra, so maybe if that hadn't happened, the win streak might be longer. I don't know, it's hard to say, and it's almost disrespectful to each guy. But without question, Cormeir Usman is the greatest welterweight right now. He's the champ, he's the long-time champ, he's a dominant champ, and I don't see anyone taking it for quite some time. But there is challenges out there, and who are they? Well, the first one that springs to mind is Leon Edwards. See, my voice is going again already. Leon Edwards is on an incredible roll. 10 fights unbeaten. Just beat Nate Diaz. Before that, it was the eye poke. A no contest to Bilal Muhammad, which is a real shame. Otherwise, it would be 10 wins. But it's 9 and a no contest. But let's call it 10 fights unbeaten. And now he's fighting Jorge Masvidal next month. If he beats Jorge Masvidal next month, that's 11 wins essentially in a row against Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal. The list goes on. But Masvidal is a top contender. If he beats Masvidal, I don't see how he doesn't fight next. And he deserves it. He has all the credentials. He has the record. But, as Colby Covington would say, we got Cumshot Chimaev. And by the way, I'm a huge fan of... I almost said Cumshot again. But you got to give... That was a funny line. That was a funny line from Colby, so I had to mention it. Cumshot Chimaev is pretty good. Pretty good. But Hamza Chimaev is out there. He's only had 4 fights. He's the bogeyman. He's only been hit once in 4 fights. But for him to fight for the belt, it would be crazy over Leon Edwards. However, Hamza has this weird effect on people. He's so watchable, and I think everyone's dying to see him fight again. Certainly after what he did on Fight Island, the way he destroyed Li Jingliang, picked him up, and yes, brother, I'd fight for belt next, and slams him down. On the flip side, you got Leon Edwards, he's cool, calm and collected. He's composed in the octagon. He's composed outside the octagon. You don't really see him getting involved in any shit. But let's be honest, it's got to be Leon Edwards. But Leon's got to get through Jorge Masvidal first, which ain't going to be easy, let's be honest. And by the way, what a fight that's going to be. I'm excited for that one. Leon and Masvidal, they got history, they got beef. Masvidal cracked him in the face with the old 3-piece in the shoulder, as it became known. So there's a lot of history going into that one. And let's just be honest, that's not a walk in the park for Leon. Masvidal's the real deal. Masvidal's a real fighter. And Masvidal, ain't fucking scared of nobody. That's just the way he is. So Leon, he's got a real fight. But if he comes out victorious, I say he should fight Kamaru Usman next. Problem is with that, the only problem is that Kamaru's already beaten him. Do you know what I mean? So he needs some fresh meat. That's why they're talking about Kamaru Usman going up to middleweight, going up a division. But he said he doesn't want to do that because Israel Adesanya is the champ, and he doesn't want to go up against his countrymen, and he has respect, which I understand a little bit. I understand that, far be it for me to send any judgment, but just because you're both from the same country doesn't mean you can't fight. But still, I get.
Fighting again? I'm thinking that's it, man. I'm thinking that's it.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's the way to go out. Obviously you want to go out on a win, but this shit's not worth it, dude. You saw Michael Chandler and Justin Gaethje fight. Those guys, They beat the hell out of each other. That wasn't worth it. To be honest with you, I don't know. It was the first fight that I really gave up in. He didn't knock me unconscious, and I kind of turned. I turned and I covered up. I was still conscious. I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I kind of just wanted. I didn't want. That was it. I realized that he hit me hard. It probably was not going to be a good night for me. I was not confident in my preparation, in my cardio, my wrestling. These guys are training hard. These guys are training 3 times a day, 2 times a day, really hard, and my body just can't hold up to that anymore. So I definitely, that's the first time in my career ever that I gave up in a fight. And that was, I used to watch people do that all the time, and I could never understand it. But at this point, it's not life-changing money for me to go in there. And when you're younger, injuries happen and you heal. And at this, I'm 34 years old. You go in there, you get an injury, there's a good shot it's never going to heal. And doctors, I used to think you get surgery and they fix it. Doctors can fix anything. I don't want to have surgery ever again. I don't want to have surgery. Doctors go in there and sometimes things, they don't go as planned with surgery. And you hear more and more, I was young and very naive and just went crazy in the cage and this is the first time in my career I was leading up into it. I was like, I just don't want to get hurt. And that's not the attitude. You can't have that attitude going into it. You got to be a savage motherfucker to really get in that cage. The mindset you got to have is that I don't give a shit about my body. I got to go in there, and no matter what he does to I can freaking, back in the day, I could have broken my my nose, anything. You know what I mean? I could have been freaking, and I would have kept going. Now, I live in a nice house. I got investment properties. They're not paying me enough to sacrifice my body for the rest of my life.